Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where we help you win in your life, specifically your money, your relationships, and your work. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Deloney, and we're here for you this hour, taking your money questions, of course, and then those relationship questions, mental health stuff. And then John and I love when we're together. We like to take on those nasty work situations that involve a whole lot of mental health. And then the money comes in there too, John, because people don't want to leave necessarily a nasty situation, but it's killing them.
Yeah, and I was waiting for today to talk to you about the stat I saw the other day. Do you mind digging into a work question?
I don't.
I saw that they doubled the expectation in jobs. Is that right?
What do you mean by doubled the expectation?
That there was an expected, here's how many jobs we think new jobs are going to be out in the market.
Yeah.
And it came out, it was double?
Yeah, over 300,000 jobs. They thought it was going to be in the 150,000 jobs. So again, we're in a weird job economy because unemployment's low, 3.7%. But big companies are laying people off because there's this threat of a recession. Some economists think we're already in a mild recession. And so anyway, needless to say, you can still get a good gig right now. And inflation seems to be dipping, but the Fed says they're going to raise interest rates maybe 2 more times before the year is out. We are seeing now the Supreme Court ruled just last week that the student loan forgiveness from Biden is not legal. So now student loan payments coming on in late August. It's about ready to get into a really crazy financial time, and all that to say, people who have control of their finances have more margin, which means they have more freedom to pivot when the economy gets weird. So who knows where we're going economically, John? But
it's a weird moment,
these principles work no matter what kind of economy you're in.
They work especially when things get sideways.
Exactly. Right? So we're here for you. Let's get to the phones. 888-825-5225. Brian starts us off in Cleveland, Ohio. Brian, how can we help?
Hey, nice. Thank you guys for taking my call. I was wondering, so I'm 21 years old and I just bought my first rental property, and I just fixed it up, and it's pretty much all we fixed. But my only question is, my sister wants to move in here, and I want her to move in because how rent's so high, she pays so much in rent. But how do I keep that from business and the family different and separate?
So I'm getting a mixed message. You said you want her to move in, you want to be able to help her out, but you're worried that it's going to alter your relationship, or do you know her well enough to know it's going to be drama?
Well, it's not like it's more of an issue with how I don't want, because our family's so close, and I just don't like, I would like to keep it separate from the business and family, but I also really want to help her out. Do you think I should, or do you think I probably shouldn't?
Whenever I enter into an agreement like this, and I don't have a rental property, but when I enter into agreement with something like with a family member or especially with a close friend, I think the only way through this is extreme clarity on the front end. And making sure you have a separate, this is business, this is when rent is due, you got to pay rent, all that, or this is what's going to happen on the back end. And letting your sister know, I'm going to have to run this as a business. But yes, the chances of you running this into a mess, that's a very real possibility when you do business with family. What do you think, kid?
Okay.
Well, I'm curious to know why you keep saying the business of family. And I think I know what you mean, but I'm just wondering if there's something else there.
Well, it's not really a business of family. This is like my, one of my first family members actually bought a house, like one of their kids. And so I just, there's a lot of renters that, a lot of my family members rent. And I was just, I thought it was a good opportunity. If I start buying houses, I can rent to them. But I just didn't know if that's if that makes sense.
Okay. So John dug in, I thought, on the right thing here. I'm not sure we got a good answer. Are you worried that you and your sister in this relationship, now it changes when she becomes a renter from you and you are her landlord? Are you worried about that in general because of the nature of how the relationship changes? Or are you worried, meaning it could be any family member and you'd have the same question, or are you worried specifically about this situation with her? That's what I'm curious about.
I'm more worried about the situation here. If that makes sense.
Well, I think John I think you heard that. And so when John asked you that, and now that we get some clarity on that, I think you need to listen to that red flag. What specifically, if it were another family member, you wouldn't have pause. What about this particular relationship causes pause?
It's more like, I bought this house and, I was like talking about it. She said she was going to save a lot of money and thought it was going to be really good. It'd be really good for both of us. But, I thought, maybe since, she might be my sister, she could help me out a little bit. I've asked her a couple times and she's always turned me down, saying, no, I'm not going to help you. But to me, it's like the red flags about it, because it's like, oh, well, are you going to keep the property up then since you're not really helping? I'm just very worried about that, if that makes sense.
I would come out of the gate and listen, just do what Ken said. You're 21 years old. This is not the time of your life to start divorcing yourself from your innate wisdom. This is the time to lean into it. And as a 21-year-old, you're going to have to practice it. And these lessons are going to pay dividends when you're 30, 40, and 50. But if your gut says no, dude, don't make a rule that says, hey guys, I just don't rent to family. I love y'all too much. And I want to make sure that business doesn't mix with family. And by the way, can I give you some unsolicited advice?
Yeah, of course.
If you're running around as a 21-year-old leveraging rental properties in Ohio, you're going to be up for a world of hurt. If you're buying these places with cash, cool. But if you've watched a lot of social media and you are trying to put 7% down or no money down or 2% down, and you're buying a rental house and you're going to immediately roll it into somebody else, I'm just telling you right now, none of my job would exist if my boss hadn't done that exact same thing and gone stone broke when the economy turned.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm
I actually put 20.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I put 20% down as a foreclosure. I bought for about $70,000, and I've been fixing it up. And it's about probably.
Is this your only home?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is your primary home.
Can you move into it and just have it be your house?
Well, I was gonna live in an apartment with my buddy, so I can live for free, because I'm charging. Me and my buddy split the rent for the apartment, and basically I'd live for free in the apartment. If that makes sense, so I can save up more money and pay off this house as quickly as I can and buy my second house.
I get the sentiment, and I'll just tell you personally, as a guy who's owned a bunch of houses, the house I'm living in right now, I told this yesterday, was thoroughly inspected, and I got a second inspection on a couple of other issues. And in the last 36 months, I've replaced a roof, an air conditioner. I've got thousands and thousands of dollars in electrical repairs I got to do. So I'm telling you right now, your living for free scam is not going to be free. I promise you. That's just from a guy that's owned a bunch of houses.
We want you to live in that. Get the roommate over there, pay this sucker off, and now you've got your first property, and that's the way to do this.
I like that. Roommate can help you live for free.
I'd bring the roommate over to the house.
There you go.
And pay off the house early.
I like that.
That would be a great play for you long term, my friend. Again, you're 21. So anyway, red flag, listen to it on the sister. Move forward without that. I think you're going to be better off. Thank you, Brian, for the call. For the rest of you, don't move. More of your calls coming up. He's John Deloney. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Go to Blinds.com now and save 40% off selected products. Visit Blinds.com today for more info.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Deloney. I can't talk. There's too many D, the J, the whole thing threw me off there.
Whenever they hired me,
I'm okay, folks. The medication's kicking in.
They put me on the board as Don Geloni.
Oh, did they?
That's how they did it, man.
I like that. That's very good. Anyway, he is Dr. John Deloney. I'm Ken Coleman. Welcome to the show. We're here to talk to you about your life, your money, your work, your relationships. By the way, all three of those issues are inextricably connected. If you're not winning in one of them, there's a good chance you might be losing in the other. We want to help you today. 888-825-5225 is the number. 888-825-5225. Carla is joining us now in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Carla, how can we help?
Hey, guys. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to be able to speak to you guys. So my husband, he took a promotion. I think he regrets taking it. This coming early next year, he will be there 20 years, and he has a pension. So I know he's sticking through it until then. He's super high anxiety. I'm kind of very worried about him and his health, as we're overall healthy people with how much stress. And so I'm just wondering how I can be as supportive as possible. How do I be a supportive wife while I watch him go through such negativity? I'm trying to be light and positivity. Sometimes it feels draining. So I'm just curious the best way I can go about being as supportive.
Tell us a little bit. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about this recent promotion. How long ago was the promotion? He's been there 20 years. How long has he been in the new role?
About 2 years. He did work with his predecessor for a while. And so with that person being gone, he's really taken on a lot of responsibility. All
right. That's my next question is, in that 20 years, when did it start to get as bad as it is now? Has it been this way a while, or is it connected to this promotion?
It's connected to the promotion.
So he did not have all this anxiety and all this junk and all this negativity prior to this?
He did. It's just he's a very high anxiety person and very perfectionist.
Okay, so he had the anxiety.
So this is making it worse.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out for John here, because I know you're ready to dive in. But so you're telling me the high anxiety was already there, but this has made it way worse.
Yes.
But he wasn't miserable prior to this, is what I'm trying to get at. Was he? Was he miserable?
Not miserable.
Okay. I'm just trying to get the levels of how this particular promotion has changed things, because this plays into this.
Sure. Yes.
All right, John. I know you're ready to dig in on this
one. So is he planning on being done in less than a year when his pension roll becomes vested?
Well, that's kind of another question I had is he's been doing this for so long, he doesn't know what else he would want to do after. And so I'm trying to do my best to kind of guide and give him, resources to figure out what that could be.
We can help him with that.
Yes.
We can help him, but this is a bigger issue than now.
You're now rolling over. You're becoming his mom. You're not becoming his wife.
Right.
Let me just tell you what happened in my house. That's the best I can give you. There came a moment when my wife sat down with me, and it wasn't a finger in my face, and it wasn't a yelling fight. It was not on the back heels of another fight. It was us just having some connection time, just talking. And she said, I'm watching my husband die right in front of my eyes. And she said, I don't like it. I don't know what to do about it, but it's hurting me, and it's hurting you, and it's hurting the kid. And it was not her just trying to, like you said, be positive and be like, hey, it's going to be okay. It was her acknowledging, I see what this is doing to you. And that for me was an impetus to, I've got to do some different things. And for me, I stayed in the job. But I had to have some boundaries here at work. I had to take care of my physical body outside of work. I had to start exercising. I had to go see a counselor and deal with some crap I hadn't dealt with in a long time. I had to go do a bunch of stuff. I had to get some different training on some things. And so you can't be the person who is shoveling all this stuff at your husband, because you're going to turn into his mom, and then you're going to make sure his socks are put in the right drawer at the end of the day. But he does need you as somebody he trusts and loves to also be a person who can tell him the hard truth, not about what's wrong with him, but about how this is affecting you. So the conversation is about you.
Yeah.
And you might feel like he doesn't need one more thing. He might finally be at peace because somebody he loves sees him for who he really is. And that's a guy who loves his family and a guy who's out of gas.
So that's what I was wondering. So it's not a selfish thing for me to tell him that how I feel about it.
It's a gift to him. It will be very hard to hear, and he might not have the tools to deal with it on the back end.
Okay.
But here's the deal. You're keeping secrets from him, and he feels that disconnection, and he's trying to solve it in the only way he knows how, which is to go do more work.
Yeah.
Our communication's really taken a toll from all of this.
Yes.
But we both have recognized that. It is something we're working on, but that's exactly how it feels, like a big secret.
There is a biological consequence to keeping secrets in a marriage. It'll bury your marriage. And please don't use a fight as the moment to dump a wheelbarrow full of secrets on somebody. Set up a Saturday morning where y'all going to go to breakfast and just have an open, we're a year out from you retiring. I need to tell you how I'm experiencing the last couple of years.
Okay.
And I love you too much to not say the truth. And this is about how you feel, not about what he's doing. You see the difference?
Yes.
And Carla, let me add to that really quickly. When you're saying this is for him. You understand what I mean? Your concern, what John said, is so powerful the way you're positioning this. But here's the thing he has to understand. And since we're not keeping secrets anymore, you can tell him that you called, and I'd actually let him watch this on YouTube. That's the power of YouTube, because I want to speak to him for a second. There are two issues going on here. There is his anxiety, John, and the perfectionism that she pointed out, that's coming from somewhere deeper, and that's in your lane, but that's him. And then there's his job. And the common denominator in both of those is him. He has the choice. He has the power to get healing on the one issue, the perfectionism, the anxiety, all that stuff. But he also has the power to go, you know what, this is not the best seat on the bus for me, and it's not worth gritting and bearing it for one more year while he's trying to get healthy. In this case, what I'm saying is, whatever's going on with this particular seat on the bus, it has gotten worse, and the seat isn't helping whatever else is going on. And I just want you to somehow articulate that, Carla, to give him some permission and some freedom to go, I can make these changes, I should make these changes, and my wife is supportive of it. That's kind of what I want to make that point, John, because
absolutely.
Then he's going to feel less, I hope, defensive and feel empowered to go, I can actually make some choices. We'll get to the point of deciding what's next. And I'd love to give him the assessment, the Get Clear assessment, and my book, From Paycheck to Purpose. We'll give you those as gifts, Carla, in just a moment. But John, I wanted to bring it back to you on that, because that's what I'm hearing. Is he needs to see that he's the common denominator, which means he can change.
He's got to hear that he can change, and Carla can't say, you have to do all of this stuff.
That's
right?
Correct.
And so, Carla, a great gift my wife gave me was she started going to a counselor. And she said, I'd love for you to join me. And I, because I'm a genius, was like, well, I already know all the answers to what they're going to say. That's what I do for a living. And so I put it off, but she kept going. And she kept going. And then she'd come home. And then I started noticing a different wife in an amazing way. And then I finally reached out to her counselor and said, hey, would you see me too? And I will tell you, after the last 6 months, my whole life trajectory is different. But it wasn't my wife saying, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go. She was saying, I love you so much. I wish you would. And then she went and made an appointment for herself. And I got to watch her walk that path with a light out into the distance, and I got to see it safe out there. And then I headed on myself.
You're a good lady, Carla. Thank you so much for trusting us, and we're hoping you and your husband, I'd rewatch this and talk through it together. No secrets here, and there's no reason for anyone to have any shame. Both of you are good people that are navigating an uncertain situation, and you're going to come out on the other side. Thank you again. Hey, don't move, folks. More of your calls coming up here on The Ramsey Show.
Hey, folks, you know that sinking feeling when you make an offer on a house you love and then you hear there's another offer? You need the Churchill Mortgage Home Buyer Edge. Super fast pre-approval and a secured interest rate, plus a $5,000 seller guarantee gives your offer the best chance of being accepted. The Home Buyer Edge from Churchill gives you an advantage over those other guys. Go to churchillmortgage.com today to learn more.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by my colleague, Dr. John Deloney, and we are here for you, America, taking your calls about your money, your relationships, and your work. Already had some really interesting calls, combining all three of those. So if you're just feeling stuck today, you're maybe new to the program, you're going, I don't know if I trust these guys, we would love to earn your trust. We want to help you because there's a very clear path forward despite what you feel right now, and we are here for you. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. As I speak, a brand new listener, Sam, joins us from the great city of Austin, Texas. Sam, how can we help?
Hey, John and Kane, how are you?
We're having a blast. What's going on?
Hey, I have a question for you. I recently was able to pay off all my debt, and I'm already step 3. I have the 3 to 6 months. I'm getting ready to move on to step 4.
Nice.
Invest at 15% in retirement. The only question I have would be, would it make sense to defer that and pay off the home early, or if the 15% is a must? I'm kind of addicted to paying it off. So
yeah, man, you're talking my language. I get it. How close are you to paying the house off? Like, if you went full bore, how quickly could you pay it off?
About 2.5 years, and it would be about 4 if I did the 15%, give or take.
Oh, man, you are right.
Do you have one job right now?
Yes, I have one job, and I also have a pension.
How old are you?
41.
What's your income?
So combined, it's about 260.
Ooh.
Here's the deal, man. I know there's... Can you come with the more correct answer, the more global answer? I can't in good conscience tell you not to do this. If you are going to be any more than 2.5 years, I would tell you exhale and take a break. But if you tell me that at 43, you're going to have your house paid off and it's not going to kill, it's not, like your wife's in on this, y'all are all in on this together, and y'all are going to sprint for just another 24 months, another 30 months, that's what I would do. Let me be more clear. That's exactly what I did. I just paused it and ran. If it's going to be beyond that, though, what you don't want to do is look up and be 3, 5, 7, 10 years and you don't have any retirement. But I did get so allergic to that debt, it made me insane. What do you think, Ken?
Well, you've put me in a very interesting situation here as you've decided to tell someone to pause maybe step 4 to go into 6. I'll tell you what.
I know, it's not smart.
I'll tell you what we believe and what we teach. We teach the steps in order, and we're in 4, 5, and 6 many times at the same time.
Do both of them.
What I would do is I would continue investing the 15%. But what I would do is I would take that number. So in your head, if you pause the 15%, what was that amount of money that would allow you to change it from 4 years to 2? What's the amount of money that you would pull out of the 15%?
So it would be about $36,000 a year.
Okay. So if we keep investing at 15%, then I would say if I want to knock this out in 2 years, I've got to come up with an additional $36,000 on top of you guys. You guys have a great joint income, okay? So I'm going to say I'm going to keep paying the 15%, but I've got in my mind 2.5 years or whatever it is, and I would say, how do I come up with $36,000 more. That's a minimum to reach that goal. You might go, well, wait a second. What if I could come up with an additional $56,000 through a second job, selling some stuff, going crazy, and now I pay it off in a year and a half? So we would prefer that you pay the 15% off and then find that if you're really wanting to knock it out in 2 years, come up with $36,000 in additional money. Somebody of your ability and your discipline, I think you could do that. So I would ask you to consider that. But I understand what John is saying.
Ken is right. Just make no bones about it.
Well, I'm following the Dave plan.
That's right.
But
Ken
I
is
also
right.
understand what you're saying, and I don't think that you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's why I said, what do you want me to say? You make a lot of sense, my friend.
You gave the right thing. I reached a point where the debt made me insane. And when my wife
Well,
and
you are already insane.
That
just gave you an
magnified the
excuse.
insanity. That's right. But yeah, the you don't want to look up and have it been 3, 4, 5. Or you're almost there, and then something happens, or you need a new boat there in Austin because it's so beautiful, and then all of a sudden it turns into 3, 4, and 5 years. And you look up and you're 46 years old, and you're not investing.
Makes sense.
Is that about as clear as mud?
Yeah.
It makes the most sense long term for rational people to do exactly what Ken just said.
And Sam,
makes a lot of sense.
run the numbers. Okay, we gave you some common sense advice. We gave you an opinion in the middle of our baby steps, but run the numbers. Run the numbers with your financial pro, and run the numbers. Okay, if I keep investing at 15% over the next 4 years, run those numbers so that you can see why we would want you to continue to invest in that time. And the difference between 2 years of paying off a house, I think if you run those alternate numbers of not investing, I think that's a good exercise for you. Because I do think, and John, I think has nailed this here, this is an emotional question, and you're a dude who's very disciplined and you're crushing it. But you're just so mad at the debt. And so we want you to pull back from that. While it's a good emotion towards that debt, long term, I think you come out better investing for 4 years and having a paid off house. The numbers won't lie, but I want you to see that on your own. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't want to miss out on that opportunity cost, right? That 15%.
Well said. You said it better than I said. You give yourself good advice. So appreciate the call, my friend.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's go to Jenny in Salt Lake City. Jenny, how can we help?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
I have a question kind of similar to the one before. My husband and I were trying to decide if we should sell our rental property. We don't have any debt besides our first mortgage, and then we bought this rental property in April 2020, so right after COVID. We bought it for $100,000. We put it on a 15-year at 3.5%, and it's 2 hours away, so it's not convenient to, like, if my husband has to do something on it. But we bought it because it was cheap, like for where we live, and so we're looking at it now, and I had this whole plan that we could pay it off in the next year and a half. But then my husband started thinking that maybe we should just sell it, and then we can put that towards our mortgage, so that our first mortgage, so that we can get that paid off a lot sooner.
So why does he want to sell it? You had this good plan. It's very doable, but he came at it and went, nah, I think I'm done with it. I want to know why he's done with it.
So, like I said, it's 2 hours away. And the reason why it was cheaper, because here in Salt Lake, it's quite expensive for any type of house. So it's not in the best city. And so we've had a big turnaround in tenants. And we've always had a duplex ourselves that we had lived in. So we've been landlords for over 15 years. But this is a turnaround of every 6 months.
This is a pain in the you-know-what. That's what this is. He's done with it. So if we sell it today, how much do you walk away with?
So we could walk away between $225 and $250.
Good God, sell it.
Of what it's asking for.
Sell it right now.
And we only owe under $80,000. Okay.
Okay, so you're going to get $200 to $250. You owe $80 on it, and then how much do you owe on your primary home?
So we owe $260.
I'd sell this tonight.
No brainer.
I'd have a sign in the yard now.
No brainer.
Because number one, it's already a pain. Neither one of you, you're trying to justify keeping it. It's a pain, and it changes your life in two ways. It removes the pain, and then it makes the profit on having a cash house. You're going to pay that house off quickly. My goodness, this is a no-brainer, Jenny. It feels like you're the one trying to talk yourself into this.
Well, it's just like going through the cash flow and realizing to buy a property in the future, it's going to be $400,000 to $500,000.
Doesn't matter. Your cash flow is going to be massive when you don't have a mortgage on your primary home. Talk about that cash flow.
And your husband maybe doesn't want to do real estate anymore.
Yeah,
you need to have that conversation. Because it sounds like he doesn't want to be a landlord anymore.
The turnover, you can hear it. The turnover every 6 months. It's 2 hours away. It's not a dream property. Gone, done.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Felicia.
I love that. Oh, don't move. More of your calls. They're stacked up. They're lined up like planes awaiting to land. We're going to get to all of them. Don't move. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Deloney joins me this hour as we take your calls, 888-825-5225. Hey, are you struggling big time in a relationship situation? How about a work situation? Maybe some toxicity? John and I love to do those calls together. It's got a unique vantage point from our areas of specialty. He's in the relationship and mental health area. I'm in the workspace. We talk about your money as well. So that is the opportunity today. 888-825-5225. Let's go back to the phones. Alex is joining us in Erie, Pennsylvania. Alex, how can we help?
Hello. How's everyone afternoon doing?
We're having a blast. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
All right.
My question is, I've been on the baby step 1, just got it done, and I've been kind of on baby step 2 for a while, paying off my credit cards, and I'm stuck with the decision between paying off my student loans or a car that I had to purchase.
Okay.
Student loans was about $20,000 in different.
All right, Alex.
Providers.
Hey, Alex, are you moving around?
Alex, you're cutting out on us, brother.
Yeah. Can you hold still?
Sorry.
Hold that phone still. See if we can get you a little bit better.
All right, so say it again. Between your house and your student loans in your car?
Yeah, my student loans is about $20,000, and my car is also about $20,000.
And what did you say? You have credit card as well?
Well, that's all paid off. I just got it paid off.
Okay.
Last month.
Okay, so the only debts you have are the $20,000 student loan or $20,000 car?
Correct.
And what's your question?
Well, the question is, I'm just able to start paying them off, but the interest rates on them are just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
On my car. It's 7%.
Okay.
But my student loans are $2,000, $4,000. Well, 2% and 4%. And in the baby steps, they always want you to start with the lowest amount.
Which is
I'm
what?
stuck with, which would technically be the student loans by like $1,000. But if I keep paying off my student loans, I'll, in the long run, pay more off of my car.
Sure.
I'll have to pay more for the car due to that like 7% interest rate.
Are your student loans consolidated, or are they in 6 or 7 different smaller loans all lumped together?
They're in separate smaller loans. A few of them are like 3% and a few are 4%.
Yeah, I know it weighs on you. I personally, whenever I was going through this process, don't care about the interest rates. What we have found time and time again for decades now is the psychology of little wins is what keeps people running. And so if you're taking multiple loans, 5 or 6 or 7 different loans, and you are, one's $2,000, one's $4,000, one's $6,000, and they all add up to $20,000, and then you look over and you have a car loan for $21,000, I would line up those loans, smallest to largest, and knock each one of them out over and over and over and over again. You're going to be surprised at how much the $150 here, the $300 here, the $250 here, when you're ready to start paying off your car, and that's the last debt you have, and all of those payments are rolling towards that one thing, it will go quicker than you think it will.
Yeah. And let's take a look at the car. Let's take a look at this car. How much is it worth?
The car is worth about $23,000.
All right. And you feel like you can get 23 on the open market with it? Have you done the Kelley Blue Book and you got that number pretty correct?
Yeah.
All right.
The car is relatively new. I had to get a car pretty quickly, and because my parents had to co-sign regardless of practically anywhere I would have looked, they would not let me get a used car. So
well, first of all, is it your money or mom and dad's money?
It was my money that I saved, but it was under their account. So
well, I get it, but we need to clean up this car.
So I changed my mind. I would sell that car private market this afternoon.
I would too. And then, how much cash do you have on hand?
Not that much.
Okay, but here's the deal: you need to sell this car. And you get a $3,000 car, and trust me, you can get a $3,000 car that'll get from A to B. And mom and dad don't get a say in it because you need to pay your mom and dad back or get them off this thing, either this loan out of your life. And how much is your car payment a month? I'm going to give you some real numbers here. What's your car payment?
My car payment is $450.
Dude, you just got a $450 raise. Now that $450 right there goes into these student loans. You're knocking out those student loans pretty quickly. If you work a second job or third job, you're a young guy, you're able, you can go make $15, $20, $25 an hour in some labor positions, and you're knocking this out just like John said. And then we can upgrade on the car. But right now, we're going to get rid of this stuff and get rid of it quick.
How old are you, brother?
I'm 22.
All right, so I'm going to tell you something that it took me a long time to learn. I have some of the best parents on planet Earth. I love my mom and my dad. They're both still alive. They're both still married. They're both very, very wise, and they are a gift. And they do not get a vote into how I spend my money, how I raise my kids, what I do with my career. The earlier you can adopt the understanding that your mom and dad do not get a vote into your adult life. They can give you wisdom. They can walk alongside you. It's their job to give you opinions on everything. That's what mom and dads are supposed to do. It's your job as an adult to internalize. You don't get a vote unless I specifically ask, hey, Dad, how would you handle this situation? Or hey, Mom, how would you handle this situation? And I do that. But, bro, your mom and dad don't get a vote on what kind of car you have to drive. And that's a recipe for being broke. You bought a car that you cannot afford, and they put you in that position. Don't do that. Sell the car, man. And you're going to get a car that nobody's going to date you over. So what, man? So what?
All right, we just hit you with a lot. Where's your head at on this?
So I did have a pretty beat-up car before that, but my reason for getting the new car was it was reliable, and for my job, I have to at least have a presentable car because I am something that's reliable.
What's your job?
Doesn't need a lot of maintenance. I work at a company that in my apartment that is really strict on cars and what's in the.
You work for a company in your apartment?
Yeah.
I don't even understand what that means.
So they have like policies on, hey, if you have a beat up car, it's a term for,
I would dare a company to fire you.
I don't even understand what you're saying.
Because
can you park it around the corner? They don't want a beat up old car in the parking lot? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, nonsense. I'd park it in the front row. I would park it in the front row, and I'd take a chain to the hood.
But even if that's the issue.
Quit your job. Good gosh, dude.
Pull around the corner.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, listen, we just laid it out for you.
You don't want to sell your car, and that's fine. You can be in debt for another couple of years. You can knock your lights out. We'll send you, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you FPU for free. Financial Peace University. I want you to go through it, but you got to promise, dude, you're going to have to watch all the lessons and actually sit down and internalize this stuff because you clearly didn't get this from home. But you're going to have to learn this stuff. We're not telling you to sell your car because we don't like your car. We're not telling you to not sell your car because we don't want you to have fun. We're telling you to sell your car because we want you to be free.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we want you to stop having to go to mommy and daddy to co-sign a loan as an adult. And I don't want you working at a place that doesn't want you there because of the status of your car. That's insanity.
I'm not. I choose to believe Alex. Someone has told him that, but there's all kinds of violations on that. I got to believe there's some HR red flags if a company were to say you can't drive that car in the parking lot.
I'm assuming in a right to work state they can tell you whatever they want to, but
they can fire you for whatever they want. But
just sounds.
I don't know. But if that was me and that was really the case, I'm pulling the car around the corner and I'll walk a half a mile.
I'm not going to take out a $20,000 loan to keep an entry-level job.
$450 a month, my friend. That's what we're telling you to get rid of. And think about how the $450 a month pays off the rest of those loans. That's what we want you to consider, but you do you, man. Appreciate the call. I want to thank Dr. John Deloney for hanging out with me this hour. James Childs, our fearless leader, and the crew behind the glass to keep us on the air. And you, America, thank you. This is your show. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey folks, Ken Coleman here. Did you know The Ramsey Show is one of the most popular podcasts in the world? Get your daily dose of advice on life and money. Check out all of our shows from the Ramsey Network wherever you listen to podcasts. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, this is The Ramsey Show. It's where we help you win in your life, specifically your money, your relationships, and your work. The phone number is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Deloney. It's twice in a row. I can't get the doctor and the John today. I'm just going to go John the rest of the show.
That works for me.
In no way to slight your hard work with two PhDs.
I'm unslighted.
Okay, good.
Just call me John.
I don't know what's happening.
It's this guy from the parking lot.
James, I can't say doctor and John at the same time, so we'll just keep on moving with that.
You'd call me the Joctor.
Joctor?
I haven't been called Joctor.
I like that. That's actually great. That's a term of endearment. The guys in the glass don't like it, but
kind of feels...
we're in charge. They are not. We're on the mic until they cut it off. That's how that works. Katrina's up next in Charlotte, North Carolina. Katrina, how can we help?
Hi. Thank you for taking the call.
You bet. What's up?
So I just started FPU this week, actually. I'm on baby step number 1. Out of the $1,000, I just have $25, and I'm getting paid on tomorrow, so I'm going to be able to add a lot more to it. However, I actually know that I need to make more money. Once I learned everything about the Dave Ramsey financial piece, my 35 annual income, it's low, so I learned I need to make more money. So I applied to some jobs, and I actually got interviews and potential offers in another state. So is it a good idea to move if I'm just on baby step number 1?
Well, I wouldn't let baby step 1 be the determinant factor here. For instance, if you get a raise and you are doing work that you really enjoy, work that you're good at for a company, that there's some alignment there, and this is just an overall great decision, then you moving in baby step 1, 2, 3, or 4 really doesn't matter as long as you can afford the move. So if you got to go bust it a little bit, let's say your move cost you a couple thousand or $3,000 or $5,000 or whatever it is, whatever that move cost is, you've got to fund that. And so that has to be obviously a part of the conversation, but I wouldn't turn down a great opportunity that you knew was a great opportunity just because you're in baby step 1. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. So I mean, I guess I've been doing this for like 4 days. So I just pause now and just save up as much money to move?
I'd wait until I had an opportunity.
Yeah, let's wait until we have a deal on the table. Makes sense. Because here's the deal. Some companies will pay a certain amount of money towards moving expenses. So let's just say, I'm making this up, let's say it's costing you $4,000 to move. I'm making that up. I have no idea what the move will cost. And the company gives you $2,500 towards that. Now you know, okay, I've got to come up with $1,500 to afford this move. What we don't want you to do is go backwards. We don't want you to use a credit card for this. We want you to get really creative, very aggressive, to be able to pay for the move. But if we're moving to a better situation, it allows us to get through the baby steps faster.
Can I throw one thing at you, Katrina?
Yeah, absolutely.
If let's say you got a job 2 states over, okay, and it was exciting, and they're gonna pay you $50,000 instead of $35,000. It was gonna be a job you were excited about. I want you to look very carefully at the things in your home that you think you have to move. The number of times I had a Craigslist couch that I ended up paying more money to move than the stupid couch was even worth, or I would store it.
That's good.
Listen, both me and Jade were talking yesterday. Jade Warshaw were talking about how we have had outdoor furniture inside our homes for years because that's all we could afford. And it was shockingly fine. Everybody lived. And so if you have a bunch of incredible deluxe bajillion-dollar couches and whatever you got to move, fine. If you are like me when I was making $35,000 figuring out, I need to do something different, leave all that stuff, give it away, put it out on the curb and give it away, and that will drastically reduce your move cost. You need a mattress and you can build up from there.
Yeah, I love that advice. I love it. You can listen, not only are you reducing your cost, you can pay for the move by selling those things that you don't need. So I love that advice. So Katrina, head up, don't quit the baby steps. This is going to help you advance through the baby steps. You got it?
I wasn't even, this part gives me a lot of clarity because there was a part of me that was like, I'm committing to this whole new financial thing. And then now I'm getting interviews. I've gotten 4 this month, and the pay, right now I get paid $17.50, and the increase goes up from $25 to $28 an hour. So I know this is a blessing and I don't want to turn it down, but I just felt like I was backtracking. Like I decided this and then now I'm doing that, and I felt a little bit chaotic.
No, it's the opposite. You got on a plan and the universe opened up a path for you that you didn't even know existed. Both Ken and I moved from where we had established families, where we lived, to a new city for a new position, and it's transformed our lives.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is more positive. Then I shouldn't be so fearful.
Off the charts positive.
Don't be fearful at all.
You're going to make more money. And here's the deal, though. Let me caution you on this. I want to, because I'm the work guy. I got to say this. Please don't just look at these opportunities as just a bigger paycheck. The world is full of millions of people that changed jobs over the last 2 years, John, and they call it the great regret, who they took a bigger paycheck, but they got there and they realized, I like those people back there, or I like the position back there a little bit more. So what I'm saying is, don't just take it for the extra money. I want you to make sure that the position itself, again, is a good fit for you. You can do the work. You've got the skill and you enjoy it enough, or it is I can do it. I think it's a good culture, good environment. And this is a ladder for me. If I do a good job for 2 years, I can see myself climbing a ladder and getting to where I ultimately want to be. I don't want you just making the decision just for the paycheck, okay?
Okay.
I'd hate to see you uproot your life.
I'll write all this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So proud of you. Welcome to our crazy little gang that you just joined. We're excited to have you.
I love that. That is so great. John, what's the psychology going on there? I think that's a really interesting question. I think there's a lot of new people that are joining our show every day. We see the numbers, and people are watching, people listening, and she's just started and she went, wait a second. I have to choose one or the other. I got to do the baby steps and get out of debt, or I got to choose to take a job. There was a fear there that we just kind of helped her with. What was that?
Well, it's this strange phenomenon, and I'm certain there's a psychological term that I probably took in a class a decade ago. I forgot the term, but it happens a lot with people talking about we need to move everything to crypto because it's all coming down. Or I've got to move all my money into silver or gold because it's all coming down. The illusion there is when it all comes down, I'm going to need a way to put gas in my car so I can get to my job. Not realizing if it all comes down, your job is gone, right? Similarly, on the flip side, when we enter into financial peace, we enter into a new plan, a new relationship. We think that our life is going to be exactly the same with just this new thing. And we don't have a psychology for it. Oh, no. Sometimes when you change your life, everything changes. And it feels scary on the front end, but it's incredible.
Love that. So proud of you, Katrina. We're rooting for you. Can't wait to hear the great news, and we'd love to hear you call back. to your debt-free scream. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer. And good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague John Deloney. We're thrilled that you are with us. 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Boston, Massachusetts is where we go next. Mel is there. Mel, how can we help?
Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
I just have a quick question with, I'm just in some debt, and I just feel like at the end of the month, at the end of paying everything, I just have no money for myself. And, I'm slowly paying it off and doing OT. It's not like I'm just doing my 40 and going home. It's just kind of like I'm putting in, 32 hours of OT every 2 weeks. And I just feel like I never have enough money.
Okay.
I just need some advice or some help.
Sure. Well, let's first start with asking you, what's your budgeting process like? Do you budget at all?
Yes, I actually did start last month. I took the whole month of June to kind of just see what I spend my money on. And I've noticed I spend a lot of money on food, like just eating out. And one good side about that, of doing that, is now I know I spend it on that. So now I'm like being more conscious about it.
So you've only done this 1 month. So let me start by saying, we've told people for decades, it takes about 90 days, 3 months or so to just figure this thing out. So give yourself some grace as you're heading into month 2. But what you're focusing on is, how much am I short? Do you have an idea how short you are right now at the end of the month?
I feel like, well, usually I'm never really short. It's just kind of like at the end, it's kind of just like I'll have like $200, $300, $400 to like for myself to like spend on whatever I want. And I usually just end up putting that in a savings and then kind of just like living with like $200.
Mm-hmm. So what do you know after your first month of budgeting where there's a lot of fat that you can trim off? We've already identified one, which is eating out. What else? Where else are you spending a lot of money that you don't need to spend it?
Probably going out as well. Just food, eating out at work, trying to find food, and then going out like on the weekend.
All right. What's the combined number that you spent last month, just ballpark figure, on going out and eating out?
From probably about, probably last month about like $600-$700.
All right. So there's a $600 to $700 difference right there if you begin to cut that and you get disciplined. You understand what I'm saying? So now you want to cut back for a month in month number 2 of budgeting, and then look for other expenses that you can cut and go, okay, can I find, and I'm just making this up right now, but you've got it. Could I find an additional $1,000 a month?
Right.
Now, do you have any debt?
I do. So, I mean, it's kind of weird. So about a year ago, in a couple of days, I broke my ankle, and I was working as a manager of security, and then they laid me off. The contract ended. So they wanted to give me another job that was very less in payment. So they were offering me in the teens when I was getting up to close to 30. So I, decided just to take some time off, and find a new job that wasn't in security. I found a new job, and then I broke my ankle. And then I was probably out of work for about 6-7 months. And then in that time, I amassed about, $12,000 in debt, and then another like $2,000 in credit card debt. So I reconsolidated the $12,000.
Okay, so the only debt you have is $12,000 that's been consolidated recently. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
And what's that payment?
Yeah, I have $12,000 in a consolidated loan, about $2,000 in credit card, and then I have a mortgage.
Okay, so you're familiar with our baby steps, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so where are you on the? And I know you're trying to budget, and the budgeting is a learning process while we're attacking the debt. So do you have $1,000 in your emergency fund? Baby step one.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow I'll get paid, so I know I've done. So this, last week I did about 35 hours of overtime, so I can just pay off the.
Here's my question. You're not answering my question, my friend. Baby step one is $1,000 in a savings account for an emergency. Do you have that right now?
Yes.
You have $1,000.
Yes.
In savings.
Yes.
Not more, just 1,000.
Yes, I have $1,000 in my savings account,
All right,
and then I have my regular checkings account.
Okay. So the baby steps now, you've got baby step one done. Now we're taking the smallest debt you have, and we're going to attack that with everything you have. The budgeting process that we just walked through is to find as much money as possible that you can attack the debt snowball with. So the smallest debt is what you're going after next. And then when you knock that out, you take what you have been paying towards that and you put it towards the next one, and you just keep working through this process. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what's next for you.
Okay.
What do you do for a living, man?
I'm a ranger at the moment, so I work for Commonwealth.
A ranger.
Is that a park ranger?
Or a police officer?
Yeah. Park ranger.
Park ranger. Okay. Do you live on site? Do you live at a camp, or do you live at home?
No, I live at home. It's about 15 minutes away, so I take the public transportation. I don't own a car.
That's good news.
Okay. I was going to suggest you pick up a second and third job and begin figuring out ways, but you're working overtime so much. Here's what I think you got to do, man. You got to get radical. The way Dave says it is, I will not see the inside of a restaurant unless I work at one. I will not go on a date with somebody unless we are going for a walk in a beautiful Oregon park. I'm just not going to spend any money because I got to get out from under this debt so I can get my life back. You don't have a life right now, man. You're killing yourself working overtime just to stay afloat.
All right.
And we say it all the time, man, you're just worth more of a life than the one you're leading. And so, man, keep working overtime, but get this stuff out. You don't have a huge amount of debt. You do live in a state that takes a big chunk of your paycheck every time you bring some home, so that'll take a little bit longer than it might in another state. But, man, I would just keep hammering it and hammering it and hammering it and get it done.
All right. Because I know, like I said, I worked a whole bunch of overtime, and the credit card debt by tomorrow when I get paid, it's going to be done. So then the consolidated loan is what's next. And,
awesome.
Great. So so how quickly can you pay off that $12,000 if you give it everything you got by cutting all of your expenses that you can cut? I mean, you cut everything that you don't need. How quickly could you pay off the $12,000?
I mean, I did some math around it, and I think I can get it down, hopefully, with the projected number I have about probably next summer.
Great.
No chance. You can get it done faster than that.
I absolutely agree, but you're gonna have to work. You're gonna have to work more. So I don't know if you're changing jobs.
You're talking about a year from now. You how much do you make?
I make about $50,000 for my job, and then I have an income home. So I have a rented home that I make about an extra $900 a month.
I would sell that rental home. You can't afford it. Can you sell that home?
Well, the mortgage is paid, and I actually make money from it.
Oh, so you own that home free and clear?
No, so I have a mortgage on it, but with the amount of money I get from it, I pay the mortgage plus I get payments towards me.
Right, but John was right. You can't afford it.
What do you do tomorrow if the air conditioner goes out? How are you going to pay for that?
That is where, when I broke my ankle, that was where one of the reasons I amassed a lot of debt.
All right, Mel, we're running out of time. We're running out of time. I got to be quick. Sorry to interrupt, but it's on purpose. How much is that house worth right now if you sold it today?
About $360.
What do you owe on it?
About $230.
Sell that house today.
You're debt-free, you have a fully funded emergency fund, and you are starting to pay off your mortgage, brother. And you know what you'll do on Monday of next week? Sleep deeper than you've slept in years. Years. You still haven't recovered psychologically from breaking your ankle, and you're going to have to forgive yourself for the 7 months where it was really tough to get up and move around after that, and you just didn't work, and you stayed at home, and you dug yourself a hole. Let's clear that hole. You're on the right path now, brother. You're on the right path. Stay on the line. I'm going to send you Financial Peace University and Every Dollar app, the best app for taking care of your daily and monthly budget. Stay on the line. I'm going to give it to you as my gift to send you onto the right path. Sell that house, brother, and get free.
Mel, you got this. RamseySolutions.com. Find a great real estate pro there. Get that house listed and change your life forever. Great stuff. This is The Ramsey Show.
Well, you've all played the telephone game. The first person whispers a message to the second person, who whispers it to the third, and so on around the table until the original message has completely changed. Multiply that confusion by 100 if you run a business with different software systems that don't talk to each other. That's why there's NetSuite by Oracle. In the early days of Ramsey, we were using different systems for all of our business units. We needed one single source for accurate data. NetSuite was the software we used to optimize and take us to the next level. NetSuite gave us the visibility into all of our numbers so that we could communicate across departments and plan ahead better. And as we grew, it scaled with us. NetSuite worked for Ramsey, and it will make a difference for your business too. Join the more than 34,000 customers who trust NetSuite to help make them smarter and make better decisions and level up their operations. To learn more, get a free product tour at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show, America. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Deloney joins me this hour. 888-825-5225 is the number. If you're new to the show, we have a lot of you that are joining us every day, and we're so excited that you're here. If you want to dive deeper into this, what is this Ramsey Baby Steps? What is this about? How do I get out of debt? What is this process? We want you to go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. That's RamseySolutions.com and click on Get Started. And it'll catch you up on everything that we talk about, where you are in the journey so that you get caught up. And if you're enjoying the show, a couple things I want you to know about. Please consider, whether you're watching or listening, subscribing, sharing, leaving a review. That would be great. And this is exciting. You can now watch The Ramsey Show as a live stream on Twitter. That's twitter.com/Ramsey Show. Twitter.com/Ramsey Show. I would have never thought all those years ago when Twitter came out that one day we would be live streaming on Twitter. This is exciting. John, I'm going to let you take over. I need to call my mom real quick. She's going to be very proud. It's going to be a great moment. Hey, Mom, I'm live streaming on Twitter. No, I kid.
If only I knew even how to.
I don't know how to do it either. I had to ask James, where do you even see it? So there you go. It's twitter.com/Ramsey Show right there at the top of the feed. Apparently everybody's streaming on Twitter. You and me right now, pal. We don't even know how to do it, but we're there.
We are there.
Doesn't that make you feel super important? It does me. All right,
all my dreams are coming true right before your eyes.
It's a big moment. Kid. We'll celebrate on the commercial break.
I can only imagine.
There it is. His favorite song, folks. Let's go to Alberta, Canada. Annika is joining us there. Annika, how can we help?
Hey, I just have a question for you about kind of starting my financial journey independently. I'm a mom of two, and I separated from my husband over Christmas last year. And I just finished school, an education degree. And I have a contract starting in September and, some money in the bank. So I'm just kind of wondering, how I should start independently. I'm kind of scared and nervous about it.
Well, have you sat down and done a budget yet on what this contract is going to provide you versus how much it's going to cost to live in the area of the school?
Yeah. So I should be making net $6,000 a month, and I've budgeted. I've actually just got a rental a few weeks ago, and it's $1,650. So I've gone through the EveryDollar app and budgeted all my expenses. And
what's your gross going to be?
Pardon me?
What's your gross take home?
It's $64 a year, and then I get child support at $3,000 a month.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so what makes you nervous? It sounds like you're making plenty of money, and you've got the tools. You're using them. What makes you nervous?
I think just going from being in a relationship where my spouse was making a ton of money, and I haven't been in control of our finances at all for the last 8 years, basically just living off of an allowance, and then, so taking independence, I guess, of it. And I don't want to make a misstep.
So let me go ahead and clear you of that worry. You will. You'll make a bunch of them. That's because you're human. Mm-hmm. Just like me, Ken, everybody. Even James back in the booth makes mistakes, way more than you would think. That's just part of being human, right? And so give yourself some grace there. You're learning a new set of skills, and the fear is real. How much of this are you looking at the numbers and realizing just how much your life is going to change, your lifestyle is going to change?
So much. I'm moving from, like a big, beautiful 5-bedroom house to a duplex rental, and not only that, but just lifestyle changes of being able to go out and eat and all the things. Yeah. This
is something that gets left out of the conversation, but you're going to have to grieve this transition. You're going to have to spend some time telling a friend, sitting with a counselor, sitting with yourself. And I wish I had a better word that didn't sound so woo-woo and Pilates yoga, but you're going to have to journal about it. You have to write it down. I'm frustrated that this relationship didn't work out. I was in an abusive situation. I was given an allowance. I wasn't even a full person. I'm going to miss not worrying about money. I'm going to miss all these things. And here's what I get to do. You got to spend some time in that ugliness. If you just try to avoid it, your body's going to try to solve for it, man. And you're going to feel anxious all the time. You're going to feel like you're always missing out. You're never going to settle into your new reality.
Yeah, there's some exciting things like being, just frankly, independent is so exciting, but
it's scary
being
too.
Maybe a single mom is
It's like riding a bike. You remember when you rode a bike for the first time, you were equal parts terrified, but also excited to figure it out?
Yeah.
That's what's going on. And I think it's very important I hope you really embrace what John told you. You're going to make some mistakes, just like you did riding the bike. But the fact that you're getting involved here with the baby steps and financial peace, and you're pursuing this, when you skin your knee, it's going to be okay. It's going to heal. You're going to be fine. You're going to figure out how to budget, all these things. You're going to learn how to eat differently than you did, and it's going to stink, and you're going to look back on some things. But at the same time, you're going to go, you know what? This is only for a season. It's going to keep getting better. And so that's what I want you to hear, is that you're going to be fine, and I would channel that excitement about being independent, about a fresh start. You got this. We're going to walk with you.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I want you to hang on the line. I'm going to send you a copy of my book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future. And the whole premise of the book is, so everything's in ash, and that scary, terrifying question, what am I going to do now? And there's no path for that. That's not in our public lexicon, because the way our culture talks about it is either somebody's got to rescue you, or you just got to suck it up and grind it out and crush it and kill it. Nonsense. The book lays out a path for you to move out of what I hoped would happen versus what actually is, and what do we do next? Okay, so hang on the line here. We're going to send you a copy of that thing. You've got this. It's going to be wobbly. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a challenge. The one thing Ken and I would tell you is to make sure you've got some friends in your life, some people around you that will walk alongside you and help pick you up when you fall and scrape your knee, which you're going to do.
It's really true. You know, that's true in any transition of life where there's just a lot of uncertainty. Sometimes it's just nice to be in a place with people that you can be vulnerable with and go, I don't know how I'm going to get through tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then they go, you're fine. I know when I'm in my most pathetic and I'm around the right people, they look at that pathetic voice and that pathetic posture or whatever I'm saying, and they just in a loving way go, snap out of it, you know, like you're going to be okay. And you need that.
You got to have that. Yeah. And you also have to have people, and this is going to make us not popular on the Twitter sphere.
Oh boy. We just started live streaming. It'd be nice if you kept us popular.
Already going to get in trouble.
All right.
You need some people. Let me say it this way. It's okay to be sad if you wreck your Lexus.
Yeah.
It's okay. And in a culture, our culture is, oh yeah, it must be nice. No, it sucks. And it sucks if you have a life where you have a really nice home and you're married to somebody who's making a great salary, and then you separate from that and you're a single parent and you are lamenting on what was. You're allowed to do that. In fact, we're going to sit with you because it's a bummer. Yes, millions of people don't have that. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, right? And if you skip over it and try to pretend like, oh, it's fine, get everybody, then your body's going to continue to try to solve for it. So no matter where you are on the pecking order, whether you are struggling to find groceries or whether you used to have all the money in the world and now suddenly you don't, you got to sit in that reality and grieve it, man, as you transition.
I thought she said something that I found it to be heroic given her situation and not being able to even understand what she's dealing with. But she said, I'm a little bit excited about, I'm kind of excited about being independent. I think she's actually in a really good place given she's been through a lot right now.
She's just nervous about it.
Yeah.
And she did what is wise. She reached out to a couple of knuckleheads and said, hey, I'm not crazy, am I? And we said, no. You're good to go.
Yeah, and you're going to be fine. But I never will bet, John, against a mama bear. I'm not betting against a single mom. I don't care how many mistakes she makes.
Never.
So I feel real good. All our chips are in on you, Annika. Hang on the line. We'll get you John's book. You're on your way to a better future. Thanks again for trusting us and for the call. This is The Ramsey Show. The Ramsey Show continues. We're thrilled that you're with us. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Deloney joins me in studio this hour, taking your calls about your money, your relationships, your work. 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225. Let's go to Clint in Maupin, Oregon. Clint, how can we help?
Yeah.
Hi, Clint.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you guys for your time.
You bet. What's up?
So I've got a lot of different ways that I want to make changes in my life, and I've got a lot of different ways that I could go. So I started a construction company about 2 years ago, and since then I had 3 employees and kind of come to the point where I don't have any more. I've also picked up a second job as an independent sales rep. With that, I picked up quite a bit of debt in equipment and trucks and some credit cards. And so I'm wondering right now, I've kind of found that I'm not the best businessman that I thought. I love construction and I love building, but it just ended up, I live in a small community and I seem to always create a friendship rather than a business relationship. So part of me wants to quit the construction and just get rid of the debt. But I have a lot of people that are telling me that I'm not really that far into debt. And, you know, the situation that I'm in is not that bad. And I do make all my bills and stuff, but I listened to your guys' show just recently started, and I used to be debt free before I started the company. And so now I'm kind of like looking at my situation and looking at how I feel at the end of the day.
Clint, let me ask you a question real quick. Let me ask you something. When you say you're more of a friendship than business, does that mean that you're doing work for people and you're having a hard time charging? What does that mean?
Yeah, pretty much. So I worked at the store here. We're a really small area, so worked at the only store in town. And I just ended up like damn near getting a relationship with everybody in the town. And so now it's like I started a company and they all want to support me, but I feel myself,
Okay, so were you doing renovations? What kind of construction work were you doing?
So I did everything. My major background is in excavation. That's why I ended up buying the excavator and the pickup. Both were situational. I had a paid-for truck, but it was being pushed way too hard. It was not really built for what it was doing.
Okay.
So I just continued to break it. At the time, it was post-COVID, and the market for used trucks was just, you couldn't find them. And so
Clint,
I hear you guys talk a lot about telling people to get rid of their cars, but mine is a tool, not like a luxury item.
Let me dive back in because I want to get a picture of where you are on this so we can give you some advice on this. So were people disputing your hourly rate when you were quoting them, or were you just knowingly short selling yourself essentially by not quoting because you feel bad about it? You didn't want to face rejection. John can figure that out for you. He's probably got a beat on it. But I just want to understand, you've lost these employees. It's down to you now, and you're trying to decide, do I stay with this and pay off this debt and learn how to be a better businessman by maybe just being me? I'm trying to help you here, but I need to understand, why weren't you making enough money? Is it because you didn't charge enough, or people said you charged too much? What's going on?
No, I just never. In fact, I made a list from last year of the jobs that I did for free just because. So I grew up in a pretty Christian background, and so I don't know. I used to help all kinds of people just because I enjoyed building, and it wasn't how I made a living. But now that kind of carried on.
And is that why you couldn't pay your people?
No, I didn't lose my employees because of money. They just found other jobs. And there was no. I didn't lose them or fire them. They found better.
How much debt do you have for the company?
For the company, I'm about $154,000.
Okay.
What's your debt service on that? What do you have to pay every month?
It's hard to say. So I have like $18,000 in credit cards. The truck's like $71,000, the excavator $69,000, and the interest rates vary from like almost nothing to 14%.
You know how much money you have to make every month just to break even with your debt payments. What is that number?
$8,000, and that includes like my living, my house and stuff.
So you've got to make a minimum of $8,000 to keep your home lights on and your business lights on?
Yeah.
Have you ever cleared that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's plenty of work in mopping. So there's plenty of opportunity, and you've cleared $8,000 or more before.
Definitely.
All right. So what are you questioning? Whether or not you should stay with this? Why are you questioning that?
Or let me ask you this. Did you get into it, and you're a year and a half into it, and this just isn't the job for you?
So here's what happened. At this winter, I used to manage the hardware store right here, and so one of the companies actually reached out to me that I used to work with, and so I started working for them as a sales rep, an independent sales rep. So I don't have hours, and I'm able to flex my time around. So I'm doing both.
Are you making good money doing sales? Do you like that more than being a construction manager?
Well, it's making like, I'll probably get like an $8,500 check. So I'm looking at that and how much time I spent, and then I look at like.
That's not the answer.
That's where I'm trying to decide if I should keep both.
Clint, you didn't answer John's question. Answer his question. Do you like the sales role more than you do doing construction work? We're talking about enjoyment.
I like one more than the other. I do enjoy both of them.
Okay.
I think I'm just frustrated with the one right now.
Sure. I would be too.
If you're clearing as much money as you say you are in the construction, even the way you answered that, like, have you cleared $8,000? Oh, yeah. Then you could make a plan to be completely debt-free and own all these trucks in one calendar year. If you actually said to yourself, I'm going to honor these people by charging them a wage so that I don't have to worry about money, and I am going to be able to be in the best position to do the best possible work for them. I had a counseling professor once that gave us all a great talking to. And she said, if you're a therapist and you can't eat, you're worried about paying your bills because you undercharge everybody, you cannot be a good therapist for the clients who show up to you needing your full self. So you have to charge a living wage. You have to charge what you're worth. And so you can't shortchange your customers. You can't shortchange yourself. Now, if you don't like doing that part, then get out of the business. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't sound like that at all. It sounds like there's one part of it that you don't like, and that's the making money part of it. The telling them, hey, here's how much my business costs. Being told, hey, we can't afford that right now. Great. It's awesome. I will be here when you're ready. It'd be fantastic. And so be it, man. But also, if you like both jobs and you're able to take care of your home responsibilities, knock your lights out. I'm confused as to what your question is, because it sounds like things are going fine either way. You just have a whole bunch of debt and you can't breathe. And yeah, you're right. Now, I wouldn't do that, but what's the challenge?
I guess it's just, I think it's just, might be a long, I guess maybe, honestly, I was looking for a way out, because I always hear you guys say about like dumping your debt, but my debt technically makes money. And so
I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
I think he wants out.
I think you want out of the business. Sell your stuff, dude.
Sell it.
Sell it all and pay off the last truck and just do home remodels out of your truck.
Yeah. That's true. If you want it, if you got the itch for that, then do that. But if you're looking for a way out, sell everything.
Or become the best salesman on the planet, crush that job. And my buddy's father is a former carpenter who's retired now, and he only takes on projects that he does for free for people who are in need. And so let that be a way that you give back to your community. Let that be a ministry that you do. Great. But you have to pay your bills.
So one question, you guys talk about being debt-free all the time. In this case with a business, I mean, do you look at that much debt and do you see that as bad, or is that?
Yeah.
Yes, because, dude, 2020 happens again. And your government that already has told you, will tell you again, you cannot work. You can't go to work. Those debt payments will still come true. So you're in a little season when you're making money off those trucks. I would not hang on to that long term. I'd much rather a crummy truck that I own than being in debt and trying to make my bills.
Get rid of it. You're looking for a way out. We've got the way out. Great hour, John Deloney. Thank you, sir. Thank you, James Childs, our fearless leader there behind the glass. And you, America, for listening. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Dr. John Deloney. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where we help you win in your life, specifically your money, your relationships, and your work. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. It's toll free. It's your call, your life. We're here to help. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Deloney joins me this hour. 888-825-5225. Let's go to Phoenix, Arizona to start this hour. David is there. David, how can we help?
Hey, my wife and I are starting to, consider more seriously buying a home. And I was just wondering, we were looking at getting a house with additional dwelling unit to use as like a Airbnb. I was wondering, would it make sense to maybe spend a little bit more on a house if it can provide some income?
No.
I especially wouldn't plan on it. I wouldn't factor that into my purchase price.
Yeah, I'm having some fun with the quick no, but John and I were just talking about this. In fact, we shared this on the show last week. I forget, James, I may have been George on Friday of last week, but we showed some data out there where the VRBO, the Airbnb, that industry is contracting pretty seriously right now on what people are able to charge because there's more supply than there is demand. And so this is too speculative for you to say, all right, I'm going to take on more debt in return for the opportunity to get a little extra on the rent that helps pay things off. I just think it's too speculative. I think if it's me, John, I don't know what you think about this from a marriage standpoint, but I don't want to move into a new house and then have tenants.
Yeah, if you do, fine. I just sure wouldn't take a mortgage out on it with the assumption that the only way we make this mortgage is by people renting out parts of our house. It also, like Ken says, let's say in this phase of your life, y'all want to do that. And then a family of 3 moves down beneath you in your basement and you're all excited. And then your wife comes home and says, I'm pregnant with twins. And your whole life changes and you don't want these people in your basement. You can't afford for them not to be in your basement. The whole thing is a domino that just, you can't see what happens 2 years and 3 years and 5 years down the road. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't build that in.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, it's. I think we've used it to vacation in the past, and thought it seemed like a decent idea. And I was thinking it from the standpoint of it would allow us to have more space as a family. So we don't have any kids right now. If we lived upstairs and then rented out the basement for a few years, and then decided to have kids, we can then get rid of that additional income and have the more space.
Sure.
I'd rather see you rent for a little bit longer.
I agree.
And then buy the house y'all want to buy.
I like that. Or hey, if you want to come up with some extra income to go do these trips that you want to do, find a way to do that. And on paper, it makes total sense, as John said. But bottom line is you're assuming some risk that is unnecessary. This is like just going, I think I want some more risk in my life. And I just don't think it's necessary to accomplish what you want to accomplish. It doesn't make sense to me. It's too much risk.
The other thing about you, David, and your wife, y'all are probably pretty good renters. Y'all probably took care of the property. Y'all really gracious of your host family. Y'all were honorable tenants and you paid your bills. And y'all are not everybody. Y'all are not everybody. The landscape is littered with folks who have accepted people into their homes, and they live very differently than the rest of us. Yeah. So be it.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities for this thing to turn sour when it makes sense on paper, but then the emotion and everything.
If you want to get your own, like I got a buddy he's got a second property paid for, and he Airbnbs it out as his knock your lights out.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't do it in my house.
Yeah, I agree. Juliana is up next in Houston, Texas. How can we help?
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I was calling. My husband and I have been married for 5 years now, and life is about to change quite a bit from what we've been used to. He is going to be leaving his full-time job to go back to school, and will just be working part-time. And we've crunched the numbers and done all the things, and, we'll be okay. But there's a couple of things that are causing a little bit of worry in my mind, and I would just kind of like some advice.
Sure.
On what you might suggest to do.
Yeah. What's he going back to school for?
Is, engineering.
Okay.
And he has a degree currently, but changing of careers and going to go back to school.
Wait. So, what's he going from to? He has a degree in what? What's his degree in?
In biblical studies. So, it's a long story. He's in the ministry right now, full time, but just doesn't really see it as a full-time vocation.
Okay.
So, just going to step back from that and pursue something more in the secular world.
So what are you struggling with?
Okay, so was able to save up quite a bit over the last 5 years, and we just paid off his truck in the last month. So that brought our savings down to around $12,000 now. We have a $420 a month car payment. That is our only debt, which is my car. We bought it last year. So we still owe about $25,000 on it. And my thought is, should we trade it in and pretty much break even and pay something cash so that we erase all debt going into the season
Yes.
of no longer two incomes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What you have to look at when y'all decide to do this, y'all have to look at the entire impact on the impact on the entire household.
Mm-hmm.
It can't just be a dollars and cents situation with, okay, his job, we'll be able to make it on my salary for this many years, and then we're going to be able to we won't do any retirement. We're just going to get through here. We're going to cash flow this. That's part of it. But there's an impact to the entire system of the house that you'll have to take into consideration.
Mm-hmm. I am a little concerned about potentially being upside down in the car because when I put the numbers in, Kelley Blue Book and all of the things, it does say that it's right at the $25,000 mark. And so if I walk in somewhere, I'm nervous that I wouldn't get the amount that's owed on it and have to pay out of pocket to pay off the loan and then buy something cash. And then our savings just plummets down to nothing, basically. And so that's what's had me nervous is, I like the idea of having it erased and being done with it. And it's not the car. I'm not attached to it in any way. But just would it be putting us in a position where if something does go wrong in some other area of our life, we don't have the money then?
You're already in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a $450 a month car payment.
Now, I did hear your language. You said if we walked in somewhere, so if you're talking about taking it to a dealer, you're not going to get Kelley Blue Book value for that. Are you aware of that? They're going to offer you way less because they've got to make money on it.
Put it on Facebook Marketplace.
So that's where you get the Blue Book value is selling it private seller. That's the only way you got a shot at getting the 25. All right, the dealer's not going to work. But let's say you sell it for 21 on the open market. You're still in a better off position if you go get what we call a credit bureau, and you get a small loan for
$1,000 to pay off your car note.
And now we've lowered our payments, so we're still getting out of debt. So you guys have a couple of options. I want you to hang on the line. We're going to get you a session with one of our financial coaches because you've got some complexities here, and I want you to have a session with one of our coaches. They'll walk you through every step that you need. So hang on the line, and thank you for the call. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, being free to make your own medical decisions is a big deal these days. Christian Healthcare Ministries gives members the freedom to choose the doctors and providers they want without the frustration of worrying about networks and with no waiting period to join. It's a membership-based nonprofit ministry where hundreds of thousands of Christians share funds to pay for and pray for each other's medical bills. For over 40 years, CHM has helped families living across all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Check out more today at chministries.org/budget.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Delaney joins me as well. It's 888-825-5225. That is the number to jump in, 888-825-5225, talking about your life, your money, your relationships, and your work. John joins us next in Indianapolis, Indiana. John, how can we help?
Hi there. I wanted to thank you guys so much first for taking my call.
You bet. How can we help today?
So I have been agonizing over this question for about a year now, and it's time to make a decision. I have been a traveling nurse. Obviously, I'm making good money doing that, and however, a few years ago, I think 2 years ago, I scored really well on the LSAT, and I got a 70% scholarship to go to law school. Mm-hmm. And, everybody I talk to, they think, oh, wow, that's great. You're a nurse, you're a nurse and then you go to law school and, but you're definitely going to find a job. And, but I'm making a lot of money as a traveling nurse. Now, it's not the same as I were to stay in, Indianapolis, for example. I would not get paid as much. And, at some point I want to, plant my roots somewhere. And I think I'm concerned because, on the one hand, I'm familiar with working in the hospital. That's what I know. That's what I know how to do, and I've been doing it for 10 years now. And
what inspired you to go take the LSAT? You don't just rip that one out on a whim.
I love a challenge, and I wanted to keep advancing. I thought about going to medical school, but the time commitment on medical school would be
John, I'm going to take a stab because you never got to the question that you've been agonizing about for a year. I'm going to take a shot here. I think you love a challenge, and I think you thought it'd be interesting to see how you did. You did way better than you thought, or maybe you did as good as you thought. You got a scholarship. You told people about it, and now everybody's so excited. You've got some sense of, I kind of got to walk through this, or people are going to criticize me and tell me that I'm crazy. I don't think you want to be a lawyer at all. And I don't mind if I'm wrong, but that's my read.
Yeah, that's what the reason I'm calling you guys is because, I know that you don't know me, and, you're going to give me an unbiased answer. And that's also what some
John,
of my
was I right or wrong?
John, you answer.
You tell me.
We don't get a vote. We're two knucklehead YouTube podcasters.
Only reason I stepped out on the ledge is you're having such a hard time owning this thing that I think your heart's telling you. So was I right or am I wrong?
I don't know because I don't know what being the job. I think that's the main problem is I don't know what the job is like. I don't know if I would like it.
All right, I'll tell you. I was a dean of students at a law school for years. Okay.
Say that again. Sorry.
I was a dean of students at a law school for years. Okay. So I'll tell you exactly what it's like. It will be incredibly challenging. You will write more than you have written in your entire life. You will read more than you have ever read. You'll be surrounded by people who are the brilliant minds, hardest working folks, and they will be single-minded on getting the right scores and the right placements in the right places. Highly, highly, highly competitive. And you will get to sit with some hurting people, which you've done your whole career, and you'll get to help people. You'll also be frustrated by big systems, which you've been your whole career. And so let me go ahead and clear any doubt in your mind. You can do this. That's not the question.
Yeah, that's right.
The question is, do you want to? It will be a commitment, and I will also tell you that my research was on the mental health of attorneys. And when you get partners someday, the research tells me that partners turn back and go, I gave up my 20s and 30s for this. And so you have to ask yourself, not for some future gain somewhere down the road, do I want to spend the next 3 years of my life reading 16 hours a day and writing and wrestling with hard concepts, learning to work with the least of these in our communities, or help with insurance companies or big business, whatever it is you want to go into, oil and gas, whatever the thing is. And ultimately, am I going to make this 3-year commitment and go all in? And if you're not, defer your enrollment. It's a buyer's market right now for law schools. There's more seats in law schools across the country than there are applicants. You're going to qualified applicants. You'll be fine with your LSAT score. People will take you from all over the place. And by the way, if you got a 70% at one college, you may get 100% at another college.
I agree with that. But so, John, I don't think you want to do it. John, I don't think you want to do it. You know why I don't think you want to do it? Because I think this is fascination for you. And I think you know what law school is going to be about. I think you know the time commitment, but I don't think that you really, really, really want to practice a certain type of law. You might, but I'll tell you how you find out. You just start hanging out with a lot of different lawyers.
Go hang out with lawyers.
Like, let's go hang out with an employment law specialist. Let's hang out with a defense attorney. Let's hang out with a prosecuting attorney. Let's hang out with somebody who does real estate law. I mean, there's so many different types of law, just as there are different types of nurses. I got to tell you, I wouldn't pursue this at all until you hung out with enough people to go, now that That over there, that's worth all of the stuff that John just gave you a beautiful description of. See, because on the other end of that, you got to actually like what you're doing, or you're going to go, I did this for the challenge. I climbed the hill. Now I need another hill to climb, and you're calling us back 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line. That's my concern. And I'm not trying to talk you out of this. I'm trying to get you to fight for this, because a guy who really wants to be a lawyer has thought about this a lot.
If I can talk you out of law school, you probably shouldn't go.
That's exactly right.
And I also want to tell you this. The world needs great attorneys. And I want brilliant people to be there if somebody hurts me or my family, to walk alongside me and my family. I need that. And you could be that person. And I heard you offhandedly say you did get into another law school and you got 100% full ride?
Yeah.
You don't want to go to law school.
No, you don't.
Otherwise, you'd be all over it.
And I think you said you wanted an objective opinion, and I think John and I are giving that to you. We don't hear enough of a heart behind this to put the effort and the time into this. And it's okay. See, that's what I'm hearing, and I could be wrong. But I hear a guy who feels the pressure of what people are going to say when you go, yeah, I did this and I'm walking from this because I actually like taking care of people in the medical field. I don't want to travel as a nurse for much longer because I want to change my lifestyle and put down some roots. But I think I like taking care of people in a medical context more than I do in a legal. That's what I think I'm hearing. I could be wrong.
Can you go get your nurse practitioner degree? Would that give you peace?
I have thought about other paths. I thought about, continuing to be a travel nurse and just take online MBA courses.
Hold on. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Is there a prestige element to this?
I would say, that's just how I think my natural inclination.
So I'm going to tell you right now, brother, do not go to med school if the only reason you're going is to be a doctor. Do not go to law school if you just want to tell people you're a lawyer.
Amen.
Go because you want to help people have a better life. The prestige game, I'm telling you, I've got 2 PhDs, brother. I chased it my whole life until I finally broke down in front of a counselor. And she said, congratulations, you made it. Now what? You will never chase down the prestige. You'll never catch it. It's a moving target. It moves and it moves and it moves. And you'll move from one law firm to another law firm to another paycheck to a different suit to a better car, and you'll never catch it. Do what you want to do. You're so brilliant and you're so bright and you have a heart for people. Let that be enough, man.
Here are 3 questions. John, I want you to answer 3 questions on your own before we go to bed tonight. Who are the people I most want to help? What problem or desire do they have? What solution to that problem or desire fires me up? Now, hang on the line. We're going to give you my Get Clear career assessment that I think is going to help unpack a lot of that. Appreciate the call, but don't go to law school. You don't want to, and everybody knows it. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Deloney, and we are thrilled you're with us. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Our question of the day is brought to you by Neighborly, your hub for home services. Neighborly has 19 service brands nationwide and a network of local service pros. Molly Maid, Mr. Rooter Plumbing, and Mr. Appliance, just to name a few. By the way, I will never be called any of those names. I'm Mr. Incompetent around my house, That's why I need Neighborly, Visit neighborly.com to find available service providers near you.
All right, today's question comes from Tony in Florida. Tony writes, any advice on dating when on baby step 2? Tony, you lucked out asking these 2 tomcats. Any advice on dating when on baby step 2? I've been on several dates, and it's getting extremely frustrating and expensive to take women out.
Oh, boy. Where do we start here? He's been on several dates and getting extremely frustrating and expensive. Well, this is called inflation, my friend. We'll start there. Everything's a little bit more expensive these days. Gas, groceries. I mean, I had to go clothes shopping for my kids as we're already starting to think about next school year. Everything is more expensive right now. So advice on dating on baby step 2, maybe you shouldn't date. Maybe you shouldn't date. We mentioned this. Dave has said this how many times over the last few decades. When you're in baby step 2, you're gazelle intense. You don't see the inside of a restaurant unless you're working in one. And so maybe, Tony, this is the time to realize my dating life gets back online when I have no debt.
When my financial life gets online.
Yeah.
Or you're in Florida. You can go on hikes, you can go kayaking, you can go for walks. You're going to have to figure out free dates. And here's what's cool about that. You'll find out if she really likes you or not. If she just wants to go out with you because of the restaurant you're taking her, it probably doesn't have a lot of legs to it, the relationship. And so may want to pass. So, brother, you have a great window into the heart and mind of the people you're dating. Because if they only like you how much you spend on them, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great technique. You just tell these people you're trying to get debt free. Tell these women, and so I would love to go on a sunset beach walk with you, and we'll have some carrots and celery and a little bit of hummus, and let's see if this girl wants to go out with you. Because if she'll go out for carrots and celery and hummus on the beach, well, there's something there.
And if you're listening to me and Ken babble on here and you're wondering, how do these guys get married? We ask ourselves that same question.
I actually know the answer. While Sheila and Stacey are both phenomenal women, anybody who knows them would say so, they also lack judgment.
Exactly. And man, my wife fell for the old hummus and celery and carrots trick.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I didn't do that.
Hook, line, and sinker, baby.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't have a chance. I was so broke that the carrots, I couldn't have afforded it. I picked Stacey up our first date, and it was freezing cold. It was a December evening, and I didn't want her to be cold because I had such a cheap, crappy car. But I realized in that moment, wait a second, I can go knock on the door and I could take the key out of the ignition and it'll still run. That's how crappy the car was. And so just took the keys with me. No one could steal it. But
we took lots of walks because that's what I could afford.
There you go.
Lots of walks around the lake.
And it worked out. We're on 25 years. You're on what year?
21.
21. But the key here, the lesson is, gentlemen, find a woman with poor judgment. and that's the takeaway. It's how John and I got married. So there you go. Let's go to Jonathan now in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jonathan, how can we help?
Gentlemen, congratulations. 21, 25. I'm coming up on 14.
All right. All right. Way to go. Did you out-marry yourself as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good for you. All right. What's going on?
Well, looking for some wisdom today.
You have come to the right place, my friend.
I was going to say we'll put you on hold unless you set you up for another day this week.
Chris Wright and James are in the booth. You're probably going to want to talk to them if you want wisdom. What's up?
So I'm looking for some tips and tricks to talk for me and my siblings to sit down with my mom and my father on asking if they'd be willing to take FPU.
Oh.
Tell me more.
So in the last month, my dad got laid off from his job, and so they're kind of struggling a bit financially. Throughout their marriage, we've noticed my dad just handles all the finances. He is a finance major, so he believes he's got everything under control, and my mom doesn't have much insight into that. And so she has had a couple of times where she stopped by my sister's home, broken down, crying. She's really concerned, worried, security gland is spasming. And so she's, we want to help out as much as possible and would like just the way to approach the conversation in the most humble way that we can to encourage them to go through the course.
Sure, man. I love the heart of your siblings. What I would tell you is it's been my experience that parents don't like getting advice from their kids, especially on money and sex. And those are two situations, to things that parents don't like to talk to their kids about, and they especially don't like to get judgment or wisdom from them. And so if y'all sit down and have this conversation, I think it would have to be from a place of, this has transformed our lives and given me and our wife, our homes, our new homes, so much peace. And we know Dad got laid off. We know you're struggling. We just want to know we support you. We pitched our money in together. We got you this gift. And it would really honor us if y'all went through it together. But it's going to have to be a very open-handed invitation, because you haven't been invited into this conversation. Your dad hasn't reached out and said, hey, man, I need some help with this. It's y'all looking, and there's going to be some pride there. There's going to be some frustration there. There's going to be some heartache there. There's going to be some, I'm a finance major, who do you think you are there? And that's just, that's just Dad talking. But I would do it very open-handed and say, hey, we all pitched in, and this is our way of just telling you that we're thinking about you. This has made a dramatic improvement in our lives, and we wanted to gift this to you.
Yeah. And my mom's opened up about it. With the finances that she's concerned, should we just
no? It's her marriage, though, brother.
And maybe encourage her.
It's her marriage.
My dad.
Right. It's her marriage.
Yeah, but what he's asking here is since the mom has opened up about it, instead of he and the other siblings bringing it up, she becomes they give her the support. Say, hey, here's this course, FPU. We'll put you guys, and let her be the advocate too.
I think y'all know your dad better than anybody.
Do you think she's the best one to bring it up, Jonathan?
Yeah, well, I think, because I've heard Dave talk about before, like as a wife, and he talks about when Sharon was terrified, right? If she approached my dad and was like, hey, I'm really concerned on where we're at. I'm scared to support our marriage and where we're going. Can we please take this class together? So, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yes.
And be able to coach my mom to approach it that way.
Yes, and there's a reason why, after all these years your parents have been married, she has not felt the strength or courage to do that. And there's going to be things that have happened behind closed doors that you will never know. And so you can ask your mom, or you can tell your mom, hey, Mom, there's some helpful conversations that we had in our house that my wife had for me. If you're ever interested in that, I'd be happy to share it with you. But the idea, you've replayed this conversation in your head over and over and over again. But it's your mom's conversation to have. And it's her marriage. I love the idea of the kids coming together and saying, hey, we love you so much. Hang on the line. I'm going to send you a gift card with FPU on it and a year of Every Dollar app, so y'all can give it to them as a family. And if your mom wants to do that, that's y'all know your dad better than any of us, but I would not go in there guns a-blazing. I would go in there with an open hands and an humble spirit and say, we love y'all, and this has blessed us, and we think it can bless you.
Thanks for the call, Jonathan. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Deloney. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. Our scripture of the day comes from 1 Corinthians 9:24. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Our quote of the day comes from Dean Karnazes. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, man, the distance
Did I
runner.
say that right? Guys in the booth, I said that right? Okay. Hey, I jumped out on the end of the Hooked on Phonics diving board and got that one right, thankfully.
Cannonball.
He's an American ultra marathon runner, and the quote is, we have killed our souls with comfort instead of seeking fulfillment and achievement. Wow.
Excellent. I
agree with that. Wow, really good stuff. Jesse's up next in Los Angeles, California. Jesse, how can we help?
Cool.
Hey, Jesse.
Cool. How are we doing, Jesse?
Hey. Good. How you doing, Mr. Ken, Mr. John? Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you guys.
You bet. What's up?
Well, real quick, try to give you some context. My life is a bit complex, as much as I'm sure as everyone else. But basically, the specific that I wanted to focus on is I work 2 jobs right now, but one of my jobs, I work with a family member. I'd rather not disclose too much about it, but basically work with a family member for the last couple of years now. I honestly entered this world of construction. I work with him in construction, not knowing a dime, not knowing anything, basically, kind of lost. I entered it because I guess my place of work has been more in the creative realm as far as making videos and all that kind of stuff. But I found myself in COVID times when there was no work, obviously, at that time. So an opportunity came up to work, and we needed the money at that time. So I took the opportunity to work with his family member, and basically just jumped in, not knowing a single thing. And it was in construction, like I said, and kind of been in there for the last couple of years, last 3 years now. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know how to move around the situation in itself. I sometimes do feel a little lost as personally what I really want to be doing. And I know you have written a couple of books about that, but kind of going around the situation is, right now, because construction can be so volatile as far as, things going up and down and prices here and there. Also management-wise, how things are managed affect that a lot as well within companies.
So let's dive in real quick, Jesse. What is the situation? You've referred to it, but what does that mean?
So in detail, it basically means that I guess I will disclose it in a way that with my father-in-law, I work with, he has a small company, construction company, and it has been going okay. He's been trying to manage it the best as he can. And so getting these projects and getting all this work kind of situated, payments have been really slow. And so...
does that mean payment to the company or payment to you?
Both.
Okay.
So whatever happens with the outside, we don't get paid by clients. Okay. Money is not flowing through.
Jesse, is it safe to say? Jesse, is it safe to say that you're pretty frustrated, but you feel like you might be trapped because this is your father-in-law?
That's probably, yes. That's most likely how you could describe it.
Okay. So the way you set that up earlier, and I want John to jump in on this because this has got some really, really unique family and relationship dynamics, but you said, I need to figure out how to navigate or move around. I don't know that this is a move around situation. I think this is probably going to end up being a move on situation, and John's going to give you some pretty good advice here on how to do that. But and the reason I'm saying that, and I'm asking this, and then I want John to jump in. But if I guaranteed you today a clean break, meaning no stress, no whatever, just clean break, no consequences. You walk, father-in-law's great, wife's great, whatever. Would you walk today?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. The only hesitation I'd have is I don't know where to go to next.
Well, we'll worry about that. That's secondary, and I'll help you with that. But I want John.
I don't have anything to add. You've said it yourself, Jesse. It's time to go.
Yeah,
and I think you need to make peace with that. Don't avoid the hard conversation. You're at a job you're not getting paid, man. If this was any other boss, you would have already been raising hell. You work hard, you don't get any money. Or the jobs are sporadic. You get a random email or a random phone call or a random text message. Hey, tomorrow I'll be so-and-so at 6 a.m. You can't live like that. You got to have steady work to take care of your family and support your family. Deep down, your father-in-law knows that too. So it's time to go. I think it's a matter of figuring out what's next.
Is your wife, she's on board with this too?
Yeah, she's been great. And to a bit of context, this is where I would like to say it's complicated. It may not be that complicated, but because it's my father-in-law, they decided to put her under as the main owner of the company. This was before we got married. And then after we got married, obviously she was already part of that. She did so to help to help him out. and kind of put him in a better. I don't know the real reason other than her.
So she's the primary owner of the company?
Yes, sir.
Is she the primary owner, but he's
paper.
like, he makes all the decisions, he's the shareholder?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So does that mean that she's paying taxes on this and he's not?
But yeah, it's actually I think it's an LLC right now.
Does she take any sort of disbursement? Does she get paid at all on the back end of this deal?
Supposed to, but it hasn't been any. How do you call it? There hasn't been any profit on it.
So here's my concern. You and her are carrying 100% of the liability with absolutely no payout. The only reason you sign up for something like this, it's not criminal, is you want the benefit of the bottom line payout, which is awesome. That's why CEOs take the risk, because they make all the money. If something goes sideways, they have insurance and liability for what happens. Y'all have all risk. All risk.
Right.
It sounds very eerily similar to parents who take out credit cards in their kids' names.
Honestly, with you guys, I have known that for a while, and and to be kind of frank with you guys, my I trust in God, and I've gotten counsel before, and I hear that too. But the thing is, that relational part, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
So here's the deal, brother. Here's the deal.
Negative or against it either.
No. Father-in-law already burned the relationship. You're still holding on to the end of it. Yeah. You didn't do this. As the great saying goes, not by your hand, but in your lap. Your father-in-law chose to set himself up in a better position at the expense of his daughter and her family. And then brought you along and says, you're one of us now, you're one of us. I'm not going to pay you except sporadically. I'm not going to give you work except sporadically. And he's just keeping you hanging on and hanging on and hanging on. If this is my house, I would sit down with my wife and I would strongly recommend we get out of the partnership. I don't want to be an owner here. And if it's an ownership thing, I'm going to go sell my business to somebody. Or I'll sign the deed over and y'all can deal with it. And you, brother, go find another job.
Yeah, I agree. I would just tell you right now, go get a job doing what you're currently doing. Let's not worry about what my future path is right now. I'm going to give you a couple of tools that'll help you with that. But right now, it's like, if I can do this and I'm doing it for my father-in-law who's not paying me, first step is I need to get some stability and deal with that financial piece first so that I go work and I'm just going to go get a job, getting paid, doing something I know how to do. Then we clean this mess up. Maybe we need to get some legal counsel on unraveling this deal, just to maybe get a consultant, like let's get a lawyer on this and let's figure this thing out. But we need to have a hard conversation with the father-in-law as well, as John said. I'd unravel this deal, and then let's figure out what your future looks like. To that end, hang on the line. Austin's going to get you a copy of actually an assessment code, the Get Clear assessment. It'll help you with direction. The book From Paycheck to Purpose will help you with next steps. But as John said, hard conversation tonight. You and your wife need to decide what it is we're doing and inform the father-in-law.
Getting with an attorney would be really wise, just to look at the structure of this arrangement and
that's
the path out. Don't talk to father-in-law until y'all have your decision made and a path forward, and then you're going to let him know what you're doing.
He is Dr. John Deloney. I'm Ken Coleman, and this is The Ramsey Show. Thank you for listening.
Hey, it's Dr. John Deloney. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.